everyone. I have some fun activities I'd like to share with you today. And these activities are made from recycled items that I found around my home. And the idea of these activities is to build children's fine motor development. So fine motor development is the smaller muscles in our bodies, such as our hands. And so these particular activities would be working the smaller muscles in a child's hands. So what I've come up with first is I've taken a 2-liter bottle and I took the label off the bottle. I cut a hole in the center to create a mouth, and I've covered that hole with tape. So I used painter's tape here. On this example, I used masking tape. You can use any kind of tape you'd like. It's not really sharp when you cut it, but it could pose a hazard in terms of maybe scraping the child's hand. So it's just a little added extra protection. So I also took a marker, I drew a face. You can draw any kind of face you'd like on your bottle, and I've removed the top. And the idea of this is that children will take pom-poms, or you could even use cotton balls, and encourage them to place it inside of the top of the container. They'll fall through and the child can retrieve it in the bottom and do it again. So something else the child is working on when they're doing this is eye-hand coordination. So getting their hands to actually move to the top with their eyes and allow the item to go in. They're talking about putting things in, taking things out. That's an important skill as well. The other thing I noticed when I was putting the tape around the mouth is if I cut it into smaller pieces versus one large piece, it worked a little better. Also, I cut small slits in the tape, so when I folded it over to the inside of the jar, it folded a little bit easier. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Another activity that I came up with is I took this old Parmesan container, and they have these tops that have holes in the top here, if you can see those holes, and the opposite side has a larger hole for the child to retrieve items. I decided, what can I use for the child to place into these holes and work their fine motor development? And I came up with this idea of straws. And I cut the straws into all different sizes, so I not only am encouraging the child to use their fine motor development to put the straws into the holes, we're also talking about things such as the length of the straw. This straw is longer than this straw. This straw is smaller than this straw. Which straw is the largest? Which straw is the smallest? So bringing in this concept of big and little is another option. If you don't have straws, you can also use pipe cleaners and cut pipe cleaners to fit in here. The nice thing about this activity too is you can talk about counting, you can do color recognition, and when the child has placed all of their straws in, they can actually retrieve them out themselves by shaking it upside down and they all fall out, and do it again. Another activity I came up with, and I've actually shared this one in a previous video, is I created this tower, and with this tower I used an old CD on the bottom that I no longer was using, and I hot glued this paper towel roll to the CD. I cut slits in the paper towel roll, and I used popsicle sticks to push them through the holes. Then I found old caps around my house. So this was from like a juice container, maybe from a spaghetti sauce container. This actually was a scoop out of a container, and I glued them all on. And the idea is that the child will work their fine motor development by putting them onto the various caps. They're also doing balancing. They are trying to figure out, this one is a little bit big for that cap, and this one is small for this cap. So again, those small, big, fine motor development as well. Another activity I wanted to share with this is that, recently we had Easter, and this is one of those egg grabbers you can get out of your egg decorating kits. So in a sense, a type of tong. So you could also encourage children to use these tongs to pick up the items and put them up onto the caps as well. And they're working that open and close for when they're ready to use scissors. So another fine motor development. One last activity I wanted to share with you is I went around my house and I found different size boxes. And these boxes were, some were old gift card boxes, others were jewelry boxes. This is a jewelry box with a hinge on it. This was an old watch box that I used. So the idea of this is that you hide various items inside the boxes. So this one I hid pom-poms, and I have these little cutouts I used in some of the boxes as well. And the children matched the tops. This one you could talk about, oh, this is a hexagon shape, and this one is a square shape. Oh, but this one is not. This is a rectangle. And so you're bringing in the idea of shapes as well. The nice part about these hinge box ones is that you can actually partially hide an item for younger children, and you can encourage them to pull it open as well as push it shut. And again, working the child's fine motor development. One other thing I wanted to add is some people might be concerned about, well, what if my child puts these smaller pom-poms into their mouth? That wouldn't be such a good thing, would it? So a good way to check and see if any items you're using with your children are considered choking hazards is to take a paper towel, or actually this is a toilet paper roll, but you could use a paper towel roll as well. If an item fits through a paper towel or toilet paper roll easily, then that is considered a choking hazard for younger children. If something does not fit through, then it is safe for older children and it would not pose a choking hazard. Of course, these activities should be used with supervision and adult guidance and talking children through the various activities. Of course, that's engaging the child in building vocabulary as well. So I hope you have a great time making your own recycled toys at home, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.